Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to this show, Let's Live with Thurman Greco. And my name is Thurman Greco, and this show is coming to you from scenic downtown Woodstock, New York. This is the Woodstock Show. And this evening, we are going to continue with another tarot card. I'm going to be reading from another tarot card because I'm working on my third tarot book. And so we're bringing up all of these different tarot cards, and the one this evening is the Chariot. And I think it's a very timely card because the Chariot works with current events. And so I was really glad that I was able to bring it in today. And this show does come to you from scenic downtown Woodstock, New York. And it is every week and has been for about 20 years. And there are other shows as well. It's really helpful if you want to have your TV on in the background in your home. Channel 23 is a good one to have because there are a lot of different programs that show during the day. But the Chariot is what I call a finisher. The Chariot gets you over the finish line. If you're trying to get something done and you feel a sense of urgency, or if you feel a sense of needing help, if you need guidance, if you need an extra energy push, the Chariot is your card. And this is a real... If you do a reading, if you do a spread, and you get the Chariot, know that good times are ahead, because the Chariot is going to be with you until you get the job done. And that's an extremely important thing. You know, all of the cards in the tarot do different things. They have different jobs. They are with you for different times, and they are, you know, the tarot cards, these are archetypes, and some of the cards in the tarot are kind of off and on. The Magician is kind of with you, and then not, and then back with you, and of course the Fool is with you forever. Once you get a Fool, you've got that card forever. And it's a wonderful card to have. And the Chariot is a very, very good card to have. I've had some personal experiences with the Chariot, and I really enjoyed it. There's quite a bit of symbolism that's involved in the Chariot. The charioteer carries a wand in his right hand, and he doesn't raise that wand. It's down. And this wand stands for power and creativity and the initiative. And if there's anything that the Chariot has, it's initiative. And the charioteer, if you look there, he's not holding his hands on the reins. He controls life through his mental energy, through his passions, and through his interest in setting a goal and getting himself getting you where you need to go. And the charioteer has a belt. You can see a golden belt, and it's decorated with the symbols of the planets. And his skirt, the charioteer has a skirt, and it has magical symbols on it. And the Chariot itself is a kind of clunky square thing. And of course that represents the material world because you've got a lot of squares, you've got a lot of angles. And the wheels, it's very interesting when you look at this, the wheels of the Chariot are in the water. And the Chariot itself is sitting on the water. And the charioteer gets his energy from the water and from the land. So that's interesting how the Chariot is in there. And then you've got these two sphinxes, and one of them is black and one of them is white, and they hold the secrets. They are guardians of the mystical secrets, and they stand for the mysteries. The black sphinx represents the night. It represents femininity and the unconscious. And the white sphinx stands for masculinity, conscious thought, and the sun. And the charioteer is wearing armor, and that shows that he's ready for the next event. So when the card shows up, this guy is ready. He's ready to go. He's prepared. And there's magical things written on his armor. And the charioteer has a crown, and that symbolizes his authority. And he also has a laurel wreath on his head, which is victory. So you have all of these fabulous symbols in this card. You cannot lose with the chariot. And you've got a canopy behind the charioteer, and it's got stars, and they represent liberty and independence. And the winged sun goes with the charioteer on his journeys. And the stars connect the chariot to the heavens. So there's a lot in this card, and it's not to be mistaken. I mean, there's just a lot there. So if you have a deck of cards, something that you may want to do is go through the deck and pull out the charioteer, pull out the chariot, and look at it. Look at the card. Look at all of the things that are there. Look at the colors. Look at how the card fits together, the different components, because that's very, very important. And it's helpful if you have a spread, and if the chariot shows up, you need to get to know the chariot, and you need to know the charioteer. The chariot shows up when things are happening. The chariot shows up when you need to get something done, when you need to be around for graduation, when you're looking for a new apartment, when you're getting a new job, when you're trying to get a driver's license, anything like that. That's what the chariot is there. Something where you need an extra burst of energy to get you across the finish line. Because that's what you have with the chariot. You have energy. And you also have skills. All of those decorations on the charioteer's robes and on the chariot itself, they represent the skills that you need to succeed. And because the chariot shows up in all kinds of situations, then you need different kinds of, you need a lot of decorations there. And the chariot works if you're in a race, but it's also about motivation. So if you need to do something, this card can motivate you. It can also provide you with running shoes, because it's going to give you the energy, it's going to give you the motivation, and it's going to give you the interest in getting where you need to go. And it's also about control and willpower. The charioteer is a very controlled character, and the chariot itself is very controlled. And if you're going to get yourself across the finish line, if you have said to yourself today or yesterday or last week, I need to do A, B, and C, and I don't think I have the energy, and then you get the chariot in a spread, that shows you that you do have the energy. You're going to draw on this energy, and you're going to get across the finish line. And you're going to go in a new direction, because the chariot and the charioteer are called when you are doing new things. You're covering things that you haven't done before. And this is very, very important, Because if you're doing something that is new, that you haven't done before, you have to use intention. Energy follows intent. So you have to set your goals. You need to figure out where you're going and how you're going to get there. So you set your goals and then you plan. You make your plans, how you're going to do it. It's all about knowing where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. And I had a personal experience with the Chariot several years ago. The Chariot showed up years ago when I studied Spanish. Before this time, I used what Spanish I knew to buy groceries, chat with neighbors, protect my family's health at the local medical clinic, and keep myself on the positive side of the law with the federales while living in Venezuela and Mexico. But time passed, and I was in a totally new place, a new country, a new spouse, a new job, and a completely different lifestyle. I was using Spanish in my new job, but things weren't what they could be. In my heart, I knew that I was stuck, and I was stagnant, and I wasn't learning any new words. The situation that I was in required a goal-oriented focus. It involved courage and not using heavy-handed tactics. So you had to have courage, you had to be able to get across the finish line, but you didn't want to be noisy about it. And so I knew that finally the rubber was meeting the road, and I had to learn the language and not just play like it. When I enrolled in a Spanish class, the willpower of the Chariot carried me through. I used the strength of the Chariot for the confidence and the belief in myself to learn Spanish. I knew that it was going to be a time of overwork, but the outcome would make the effort worthwhile. Now, this is very important. When the Chariot shows up, overwork is an option. It really is, because with the Chariot, you're going to do everything that is necessary to get you where you need to go. There were conflicting demands on my time and the resources, but I felt that things would work out well in the end because I was in the driver's seat. I also knew that grit and determination were the things I needed most to see this project through. I felt like I was going to memorize thousands and thousands of words. The Chariot helped me make this major life decision. The Chariot gave me the strength and the courage to decide that, hey, I can do this, I need to do it, and I will do it. And there's only 24 hours in the day, but I'm gonna make it work. So it was time to move on in my life's journey, and the Chariot was an important pathway for me. Without this knowledge of this language, to the extent that I needed it, I wasn't going to get anywhere. Ambition and determination helped me overcome obstacles, all the obstacles that I found along the way, and the Chariot helped me cope. It helped me develop skills and use my abilities to succeed. And you know, that's very true. I spent 6 weeks, when I think back on that time, all I remember is carrying my textbook with me and memorizing verb after verb after verb. Because when I lived in Venezuela and Mexico, I had a specific vocabulary. It was over here in this part. But then the language included much more. And in order for me to get out of this small pocket, I had to learn all of these new words. And so that's what I did. I finished the classes with A's, and even all these years later, I can still speak to people in their own language. The strength of the chariot gave me the energy to not only set goals, but to carry them through to success. There are also situations where the chariot can help you control competing forces and inner conflicts. A politician or a business employee sometimes needs to settle into a situation and take the middle road and go with the flow. And when this happens, you follow the road where it takes you and you succeed. We see this happening now when you watch the news or you read the paper. You see things where a politician has decided, okay, I'm going to do this, and he or she announces it. And you know this person has looked at the situation and has called on the chariot, is going to use this energy to call forth a success. I've seen this work well on a local government level. Several years ago in my community, a few buildings needed modernizing and upgrading. One building, the highway department garage, was a tear down and a rebuild. Our town supervisor had the building contractor skills. He knew how to manage the budget, and one noisy faction of the community was critical, and he knew how to call in the chariot energy. Before it was over, Woodstock had new and improved buildings. They included a highway garage, town hall, community center, and the Como property with the town clerk's office and the supervisor's cottage. Truthfully, when I look back on this and I think of all of the obstacles for a town supervisor in this community to have gotten one of those buildings done would have been a major accomplishment. And this guy just went charging through. He used the energy of the chariot. The goals that you achieve are important, but you don't stop here. Other accomplishments are waiting for the future. And so then it's time to ask, what's next? So once you learn the lesson learned is this. Once you have learned to work with the chariot energy, use it. You've got this energy, you've learned it, you know how to find success. Go for it. Do other things. I mean, they're just, get yourself on a roll and move forward. And if you're planning, when you focus in and you're at the very beginning of a project, you need to ask yourself, what am I planning? What is the project? And then you need to describe that project very carefully. And you need to set your goal, and then you need to work on your roadmap. And that will invariably include a list. And I have a meditation here. I have these meditations. I have to make an aside here. When I started this book, I did not include meditations in the outline of the book at all. They weren't anywhere. But they have crept in, and now a chapter is not finished without a meditation. So somehow these meditations are into whatever it is that I'm doing. And it's interesting because they're in control. They're in charge. So we have a meditation, and I say to you now, can you find a quiet place? Perhaps you'd like to turn on a little meditative music in the background. And you need to get comfortable. That's the important thing. You need to settle into a comfortable chair and turn your attention to your breath. Close your eyes and focus on your in-breaths and your out-breaths. As you breathe in and breathe out, become more and more relaxed. Let your breath settle into a calming and cleansing pattern. Open your eyes now and see that the sun is shining brightly and is high in the sky. The sun illuminates the sky in a positive yellow. This is your reliable consciousness focusing on your goal. Even with the sun shining, you're sheltered from the heat of the sky above. You look around you and you see a path that you feel has been created just for you. You know in some way that this path is for you to reach your goal. Your job is to stay on this path. You see rocks, garden accents on the side of the path. You know that they represent the mysteries you experience as you travel to your goals. The path represents the project in your life. It's connected to your karma. This realization seems to empower you to work with your benefits. As you continue walking down the path, you see the sun shining on everything, adorning the whole area. You feel that this sun will join you on a new project. You know that these symbols are part of your journey as you stay on your path. They help you progress toward your goal. The path steers you toward your success. The landscape in this park is positive and fruitful. The grass is green. Your path leads you on the banks of a beautiful stream. The other side of the bank reveals a park-like setting with healthy, bountiful trees. And further down the path, across the stream and through the park, is a city with gorgeous buildings, and they all have bright red roofs. The path leads you to success. Sit with these few scenes for a few moments. Enjoy and absorb your future, which is waiting for you. Get comfortable with your success. Get comfortable with how your success feels. You know it's time to return to your day. You continue to focus on your breath while you slowly and carefully move your hands and arms, your feet and legs. Move consciously now into the day, and know that you can return to this moment anytime you want. And I thank you so much for listening to this story, for enjoying the meditation, and I thank Ellen so much. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ellen.
Thank you, Thurman.
And let us all use the chariot in these times, because that's really what we need. We'll call upon this archetype whenever we need it.